Hey Tyler, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, I understand you're 14.
Yeah.
So, how have you become an advocate for these kids in OT?
I have a friend who has been in OT care most of his life. So that's where I got my first little bit of experience of what OT was like. And then I came into care myself, and it was all a bit. It was a bit shocking at first seeing what actually goes on and happens. And I was just like taking control of, I guess, OT and not letting them boss me around. And
So, you
I was just
sort of
like,
have taken some empowerment by
yeah,
speaking up. Hmm.
yeah. And I
So,
was
how
just
long
like,
have you been in OT care?
I've only started going around homes this year, but OT's been involved for quite a long time now.
Okay, so when you said you started to see stuff going on, what sort of things were getting your attention that you thought that's not right?
Well, obviously there's everything on the internet, all over the media and all that, but stuff in real life, like just saw how the social workers would act, and something that does stick with me a lot is when I saw the moment that OT uplifted someone's younger child, and just seeing the reaction from the mother really just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, was she heartbroken?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty rough. People are starting to get their phones out and film this now.
yeah, which
So
is good.
we've all seen instances of it. Okay, so you've opened up this advocacy channel, and you're just 14. So I guess a lot of people would be wondering, well, why is a 14-year-old doing this? Why aren't adults doing this? So you must have seen the need. So why do you think it is that you've you're being trusted as this advocate by other kids?
Yeah, I definitely question myself. Like, there must be something going on that where a 14-year-old who's in the system has to help advocate and speak up about it when there's adults who get paid, like, well, they get paid to do it. It's their job, and they're not doing the basics of what they're needing to do. But it's definitely really great being able to do this. It's being a kid myself and in care, lots of kids definitely feel a lot easier to open up about what's going on.
Do you think that for a lot of kids and teenagers, their trust in adults is a bit broken?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, you go to school, expect to be treated well, and
Mm.
whatever goes on there goes on. There's some pretty wild things that happen there. And then if you're in care with OT, then you've got these adults that are supposedly there to look after you and make sure you're okay. But then in some cases, which seem to be very common, you're getting abused, mistreated, and I think for lots of kids, the trust in adults and people in power just isn't there anymore.
Mm. Have you had any experience yourself of going through family court as a kid?
I haven't really had too much experience with that, as I haven't been around the courts much,
Mm.
but I've heard some stories from what's gone inside.
From kids?
Yeah.
And what sort of things do they say about their experience going through family court? What sticks out for you?
I say from everything I've been told, it's mainly like the lack of actually listening to not only the child but then also the parents themselves.
Mm.
It's a lot of, okay, I'm the person in power here, so whatever I say goes. There's not much listening.
Not many people are calm when they're being arrested,
Yeah.
but you did a very calm update the other day. So how are you feeling about everything that's going on?
That itself was quite shocking. Like, I went over to the office to help advocate for Joseph, and that was the last thing I was expecting to happen. I had it all planned out in my head. I went down to the office there on the train, and I mean, I didn't expect the office to really do anything or listen, but I was like, okay, I'll go down there, do this, and then whatever happens there, I'll once that's done, I was going to head over to the school, because the schools can play a major part in it. And I actually talked to the school yesterday. I talked to the principal over the phone, and he wasn't very helpful. I've got
Mm.
to say, he didn't really seem to care, even though they have kind of an obligation to make sure the welfare of the children that go to the school is
Mm.
um or I mean, obviously things didn't go to plan. I was arrested, and At first, I was like, I was kind of mad at first, and then I kind of calmed down within the first few minutes and just kind of realized how badly OT screwed up there.
You see, because like teenagers tend to have this reputation where things aren't going right, and so they act out. But in your
Yeah.
case, you've actually gone and you've decided to open up dialogue with the right people, gone to the right places, with the intention of creating a record of that communication, and as a result, you got arrested.
Yeah.
Like, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, it's quite confusing, especially when we got OT, which are supposedly the Ministry for Vulnerable Children, yet the vulnerable children are being taken away from sometimes good places and being put in worse places, and then they are unable to seek help from them, so they go to the police expecting help, but then the police look at it all and side with OT.
So it sounds like what you're describing is that there's a lot of children and families and parents that are voiceless once OT gets involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to see happen? What do you think needs to change most?
Well, so from the royal the inquiry of commissions and all that, I mean, from there it proves OT isn't fit for purpose, and the whole system needs to be reformed, and mainly like what needs to happen, as I just said, the system needs to be reformed. It's not fit for purpose. It needs to be completely redone, and obviously OT does some good. It's just they do more bad than they can do good, and with the right help and the right people, they can definitely start to make a change and do what's good for people across New Zealand.
Have you noticed that OT and the family courts and the organisations that are involved in child welfare and intervention, that there's this barrier, there's this wall of confidentiality, and behind that wall kind of provides a lot of cover for behaviours that are unacceptable by staff?
Yeah, I would say that because like obviously there needs to be confidentiality, but then there needs to be some transparency on what's actually going on behind closed doors, and taking advantage of the confidentiality, they're able to get away with so many of the things that they actually do.
Do you see a need for more foster families to step forward?
Yeah, I would say that there definitely needs to be more places, and because I mean, when I was in Wellington, Wellington's like one of the biggest cities in New Zealand, and when I was down there, just talking with the staff in general, and from my own personal experience from down there, there is, for the size of the city, there's a lack of places to actually be placed.
Yeah, so they can end up juggling kids.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe the OT staff might get a bit of empathy fatigue?
Yeah, OT, they don't really look in the side of, even though they're meant to like see what's best for the child and do what's best for everyone in the situation, they just do the basic, or they just do the bare minimum of what they actually need to do, so they can mark the job as done and get the paycheck.
Okay, so where to from here for you?
Every day or every other day I'm getting contacted by more and more people asking for help. I've got 4 quite serious cases right now. Obviously there's the Joseph case, which was while I was down in Wellington, and then I've got 3 more that I've picked up in the past few days, which one of those is very serious down in Christchurch, and I don't know how OT's allowed it to happen.
You do meet the definition for a whistleblower in that you're in the system. It can still affect you and impact you, but you've gone public anyway. And very few people actually have the courage to do that. So quite a rare breed. So
quite frankly, I would say OT is scared of me because they've just never really encountered someone except just like me, and they don't know how to handle it.
Well, did I notice a clip of you on Instagram landing a plane?
Yeah.
Was that you at 13?
Yeah.
That was exceptional. Do you intend to do that in the future?
It would be kind of fun.
I think you'd be an excellent pilot in future. Very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I reckon that's a wrap. So Yeah, thanks for your time today and great
That's
getting to know you
okay.
a bit better.
You too.